Welcome to the Bringing Back the Arts Flip Classroom. My name is Nate G. Greene, and I'm here today to tell you about why blogs are beautiful. You may find yourself asking, why do I need to know about blogs? Well, first of all, nowadays blogs are pretty much everywhere. Believe it or not, there's over 400 million blogs currently online in print. Otherwise, blogs have basically become a primary way of communicating with the public. Businesses, individuals, even internet news providers all use blogs as a way of disseminating information. Lastly, and definitely not least, in addition to the learning that we get from just the content of blogs, blogs themselves can be used as learning tools for learning basic web design, especially for those of us who don't know how to code. So let's begin at the beginning. Basically, blogs began in the early 1990s, and they were essentially just user-created online diaries, which means that people could write about pretty much anything. They would write about their families, they'd write about their pet horse, they'd write about sports, cooking, recipes, whatever. The one thing that was consistent about all blogs, however, is that they were daily or weekly posts, also known as blogs, and that they would appear on the page in reverse chronological order. What that means is that the newest blog would appear at the top of the page, and then everything would go down from there. One thing that they did not feature, however, is that they were not interactive initially. That would develop later. So for a while, blogs continued on like that. They were basically just these simple online user-created diaries. But eventually, there would be two major developments that would change the face of blogging forever. The first thing that happened is that blogs became interactive. As opposed to traditional sources of news and information, users reading blogs were actually able to leave comments and posts and have an interactive dialogue with the authors of those sources. The second thing that happened is that people figured out that blogs were a lot faster way of getting news. If you take it back to the old school, when I was a kid, you used to have to wait 24 hours for the next newspaper to land on your front doorstep to find out more news. But with blogs, you could get information instantly via the internet. So because blogs were interactive and because they broke news stories quicker, they eventually became wildly popular, so much so that they actually kind of outgrew themselves. People don't even realize nowadays when they're using blogs. There's blogs such as Bleacher Report, which is an online sports blog, which breaks almost all the new sports stories daily first before anyone else, and many people use Bleacher Report without even realizing it's a blog. Another example is the Huffington Post, which is a mainstream news source. Many people think this is actually a published newspaper, but in fact Huffington Post did begin online as a blog. Another place that blogs have had a huge unexpected impact on our society is in the area of microblogging. Microblogging is basically just a fancy word for social networking, aka Facebook and Instagram. If you think about it, when we do social networking, we're basically following the same rules that you would when doing a normal blog. You're posting your news in reverse chronological order with the most recent stuff coming up top. Another type of microblog that developed, Twitter, has actually become yet another place where blogs are leading in news source information. When the Boston bombing happened, people were actually able to release news about what was happening with the bombing on Twitter before any other news source could cover it. The last place that blogs have had a major impact on the internet and our society is the fact that people are basically using these platforms, which were originally created to make blogs, and creating websites of all types. I mean, if you think about it, if I'm a small business owner today, I could get onto Wix.com or Tumblr.com or WordPress.com, and I could build an entire website from scratch without even having any knowledge of code prior to that. In a recent survey that was done by Web Technology Surveys, they actually determined that 25% of all of the websites currently on the internet were created using WordPress.com. 25%. It's mind-blowing. In this program, the Bringing Back the Arts internship program, we're actually going to use WordPress.com to create electronic portfolios for our interns to tell the entire story of their internships from start to finish. Again, using this not so much as a blog, but more as internship websites. But anyway, we're out of time for today, so I'm going to have to save that lesson for another time. So I'll say goodbye for now, and see you next time.